and for a staff of 2 to monitor. So if you have a particular parcel that you enjoy getting out and walking, you can sign up for this program. And essentially what we require is that you walk the parcel 4 times a year at least, and then we have an online report form that you fill out and submit to us, and it just helps us to check what's going on in some of these areas that we may not get a chance to go out to regularly. There's also an opportunity to help the Conservation Department with trail work at any given time of the year, or trash pickup, parcel cleanup, different types of projects like the herring run count. So, we're always looking for volunteers to help us with a variety of different projects. So if anyone's interested, the best thing to do is just to contact our department. All of our contact emails and phone numbers are right there on the main page. And ask, tell us what you're interested in doing, and we can find a volunteer project for you. And this is always ongoing. We always want to recruit more volunteers, because the more volunteers we have, the better we can manage our conservation lands. So. Next slide. So there's the last slide, just why you should get involved with the Conservation Department. Like I said, it's important to connect to the land, regardless of any town that you're in. You want to take advantage of all the open space that we have, see all the native wildlife, and really just enjoy the outdoors. And our department is really heavily involved in promoting our conservation lands. We want to make them more user-friendly. We've been creating new parking areas, revamping old parking areas, putting up kiosks with trail maps. So we want to get people out there to enjoy the conservation lands, because they're not just set aside for wildlife, they're for recreation as well. So anyone who wants any information on our conservation lands, trail maps, all of that information is on our website, or you can call us. We have a nature tour guide who does tours every week to different conservation lands, and she has a variety of topics from parcel histories to natural edibles, and a bunch of different themed natural tours, and they're great. Her name's Renee Fudala, and she's been doing tours for over 20 years for the department, so she's very familiar with all of Mashpee's conservation lands and the wildlife, and very entertaining tours. They're always free, and we post information on the dates and locations right on our website, so good thing to take advantage of. And that's basically the presentation. And like I said, if anyone is interested in volunteering for the department as a land steward, or if you're interested in becoming a conservation commissioner, our staff will be happy to tell you more about it. And I want to thank everybody for having me speak today, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any questions. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tara Carline, Special Police Officer and Victim Advocate for Mashpee Police Department.
And I'm Lauren Haddad, Outreach Coordinator for the Mashpee Council on Aging. The Mashpee Community Services Unit, in conjunction with the Mashpee Council on Aging, would like to remind residents of our Reaching Seniors team. As part of our Reaching Seniors team, Tara and I will be visiting various homes in Mashpee.
Our goal is to introduce ourselves and connect with seniors and their care partners who may need support in the community. In our community, we have seniors who may be caregivers of either their spouse, parents, adult children, grandchildren, or may have just suffered a recent loss. We also work with seniors who have cognitive impairment or Alzheimer's disease and their caregivers. These are just some examples of how seniors may benefit from a visit by the Reaching Seniors team.
Our Reaching Seniors team helps us achieve the Mashpee Police Department's and the Council on Aging's goal of being accessible and visible to the community. Through the Reaching Seniors team, we are able to provide support to our senior residents and their caregivers out in the community. For any questions or further information, please feel free to reach out to either Tara or myself by calling either the Mashpee Police Department or the Mashpee Senior Center.
We look forward to meeting with you.
When I saw those signs, a feeling that I can't deny. It's only when you behave this way, so much that I can't see the way. Is there something wrong with
Support White Shark research and drive in style with a Great White Shark license plate. The Atlantic White Shark Conservancy is currently running an opportunity for a low number White Shark plate. One winner will be selected and will have their choice of one of the following 2-digit plate numbers. It is $50 per opportunity, and the opportunity drawing fee is a tax-deductible donation to the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy. The number of opportunities is capped at 200 to increase your odds of winning. Applicants must be a Massachusetts resident or have a car registered in Massachusetts. The winner will be announced on March 30th. Go to the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy's website to purchase your ticket and enter to win. If you prefer to skip the drawing for a low number plate and go straight to ordering your plates, 4-digit plate numbers can be ordered online directly from the Massachusetts RMV. More information is available on the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy website.
With a new camera.
All right. Thank you, bud. Thank you, bud.
Just a reminder, turn off your cell phones, please.
Good point.
Mine's always off.
Hey, thanks, A, for inviting me and surviving through the snow blizzard that was supposed to happen today, and it looked like we made it anyway. And I'd like to, A, thank the Senior Center here. Bud's given me a tour. I'm so impressed with this joint. You've done a wonderful job, and it'd be fun to talk about the stuff. I have one other caveat. Did anyone see the movie Eye on the 60s? It was on PBS a couple of times during the last couple of years. Well, oh, okay. A couple of you have. That's good, I guess. Because once upon a time, not that long ago, I found this Mark Twain quote, which I've been using ever since. Oh, wow. If you always tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. So if you saw the movie, I'm going to say the same things I said at the movie. So then that's how to spell my name. That's it. Moving right along. Nothing. 1957, in between my college sophomore and junior year, I got a summer job at the darkroom of Life magazine. Entry-level job. I just got coffee for people and learned how to mix chemicals and helped out in the darkroom and stuff like that. But I met a lot of the photographers and I was very impressed with them, and so I bought a camera because I was making more dough than I made as a soda jerker the year before, and started shooting pictures. And like many photographers, your first efforts, your pets, your family. So I did a portrait of my kid brother Tom. This was 1957, and we had just seen 20,000 Leagues Under the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and we loved the movie. And Tom went ahead and built his own model of the Nautilus out of balsa wood. And I said, "Wow, that's pretty cool." So I just took the picture off the wall and moved a lamp over here, and did a portrait of my brother Tom. And when the picture came out, like it did, I mean, I think it's still one of the best pictures I ever took, and it's on the first roll I ever took. So you know, it was an eye-opener for me, because I realized that if I could like do this, it's so much fun, and it expresses just the way I feel about my kid brother. And when I went back to college that year, I switched my major from English into art to learn about composition and visual stuff. And well, when you're starting out, you don't know what you can't do. And I had my little camera in a Lionel Hampton concert, and from the shot, and it's blurry and crummy. And I said, "Oh, that's no good." But later on, I realized it's pretty good. It sort of emphasizes the jazz aspect of the guy. So I kept going. That year in college, I went to Europe because I wanted to photographically document the conservatory students. I went to Oberlin. It's a music school, and the junior class all went to Europe to study at Salzburg. And I talked the college into letting me go with them as an artist to document their trip. And I was in Salzburg for a year, and I shot everything. And it turned out this portrait of a nun coming down the stairs on the other side of the Salzach. A mistake because of the flare on her habit thing, but pretty good picture. So I was, and I think I sold one. I said, like, you could sell pictures too, and you can make money doing this? This is great. Then back home, not doing much. Kennedy made that speech about doing what you could for your country. So he did the Peace Corps, and I joined the Peace Corps, and I got the job as the Peace Corps photographer. They didn't know they needed one, but I talked them into it, and I got the job. And I was about 22, and that's Bill Moyers on the left there. And he was about 23. But then here's Sarge going to Congress to get the first money from Congress to start the Peace Corps. And the Peace Corps is a big hit. And our office was right across the street from the White House. And the first graduating class of the Peace Corps came over to meet President Kennedy before they went to Nigeria, or Ghana, I think it was. But then obviously Sarge was as happy as anybody, because what he did was remarkable. Remarkable man. And there's the president meeting the first group of volunteers going away. Pretty good portrait of the guy. And finally I got them to send me around the world to photograph what the Peace Corps was actually doing. And I was just a kid. I didn't know what I was just starting out, really. But the subject matter was so good, and I photographed everything like what the Peace Corps was doing. When I got back, I had a big portfolio of these wonderful pictures. Magazines couldn't afford to send their photographers around the world to do what I was doing for the government, and so I had this great portfolio, and Time took an interest in me, and Newsweek, and then so I started shooting for Life and Time and those guys. This is Kennedy at the Allianz South America speech that he made, an important speech. Art Buchwald was there. I think that's Kissinger right there. I'm not sure. But I didn't even know who the damn guy was in those days, but I knew who Art Buchwald was. And I'm really proud of this. This guy's Izzy Stone, the muckraking political writer. It was my idea to get Life to do a story about him at the end of his life, and it worked out pretty good. He was a terrific guy. And Life asked me if I wanted to go to Vietnam, but I had just gotten married, and it was about a month before. I didn't want to go. So I stayed in D.C. and photographed all the marches and stuff like that. This ran a full page in Life, and it also was a full page, also the cover of his book. Various assignments. Jimmy Hoff is getting out of jail. Let's go photograph him. There's hundreds and hundreds of photographers. And the jail was about 600 yards away. You couldn't see a damn thing. I said, screw this, and turned around. And he goes by. Everybody else missed the shot. And I was looking the other direction. He was going by, his manacles on, peace sign. Maybe the last picture ever taken of the dude. So, Harry Belafonte did a special for and Life had me cover that, and Duke Ellington was there, a remarkable superhero of mine. I'm still with the Peace Corps, but I fell in love with Mary, or Peter, Paul, and Mary, and I had to go to the Newport Folk Festival because they were going to be there. So I got to the Newport Folk Festival, and there's Mary, and oh boy, I finally photographed her. Click, Peter, Paul, and Mary. Then the next day, I was walking around, and this bum was out in the tennis court, and it was Bob Dylan. And I said one shot of him, the first one I ever did. And then a couple more. And then Dylan, it was a songwriter's stage, and he got up, and I think that was probably the biggest crowd he ever had until that time. And Joan Baez started singing harmonies with him, and the crowd got bigger and bigger, and pretty soon he did his own spot on the big stage the next night. And by the end of the weekend, he was the head guy of folk music. He had just started out in 2 days in the business, and now Peter, Paul, and Mary, and Pete Seeger, and everybody else are doing backup vocals for this kid. He went from zero to hero in that one weekend, and I was lucky enough to be there to get that snap. And I think that's Seeger. It's a nutty picture. But on the other side of those doors, there's a keg party going on. Everyone is laughing, spilling beer. The show was over, and I just stumbled in there, and Pete wasn't very happy about it. All right, August '63. USIA called up and said, there's a march, you want to cover it for us? I said, sure. And so I did. The caveat was that I'd get 2 times my day rate, but USIA would get the negatives. I said, well, that's okay. You know, do what you can for your country, like Kennedy wanted us to. So there's Dylan and Baez, and it looks like they're doing harmonies in the backyard, but it's not. They're singing for 250,000 people. And where they were singing was way back in the trees, and then the march started. I climbed up on the top of the Lincoln Memorial and shut the thing, and that's it. Then I climbed back down and kept working, and met the people who were there and photographed them all. One shot. I worked, it was just me. I had to work my ass off that day, but the pictures show what it was really like. And I love this portrait. It's Philip Randolph, Philip Randolph, whose idea of the march was. It wasn't Martin Luther King's, it was his idea. And there he is looking out over the crowd. It's like a dream fulfilled for him. I love that portrait. And then I have a dream speech. And then this young girl was in the audience while King was speaking. And I zoomed around and saw this great face in the audience. Click, got this picture. And it turns out that her name was Edith Lee Payne, I found out later. And it was her birthday that day. And the 50-year anniversary, this picture was all over Washington, D.C. It was on buses and flags and everywhere like that. And I would have made a fortune, but USIA had the negative, so we'll talk about the rights thing later. I, you know, doing what I could for my country, but I didn't realize that my intellectual property would be, anyway. More about her later. The Beatles showed up. My sister lived in Britain and was assisting their photographer. She said, why don't you come down here? These guys are great. I said, okay. So I got in the back door. I didn't have a ticket. I didn't have a press pass, nothing. I just went there. And I started shooting, and I was running low on film, and I got a little bit closer, and nobody stopped me. Pretty soon I had my elbows on the stage, and there they were, the Beatles, blah, blah, blah. Who's the Ampex guy here? Let's see those box speakers. Those were the speakers. I mean, garage bands around the corner have bigger stuff than that, but these were the biggest rock group in the world, and that's what they were doing. Pretty neat snap. There they were. And the kids all dressed up to go to concerts in those days. And they didn't even know how to spell Beatles right. They spelled it like the bug.
Roland, what year was that for the Beatles, that picture?
That was the...
Is that 63 also?
No, it was February 64.
64.
And then the big space, I should have mentioned, big space in between the march on Washington and when the Beatles showed up. Kennedy was killed, and I was devastated, and so I didn't shoot it. I didn't photograph the funeral. I was just so bent out of shape that I just left it alone. The thing about what's important about the Beatles